Welcome everyone to part 2 of the Happy Birthday Song Project. So the first thing we're going to do is name this part 2 up here, and we'll continue on with our project. So we left off being able to input a name and then passing that name in as a parameter to our song method and then printing out the song. So now if we want to sing to more than one person using this method, what we need to do is to use a loop. And the first thing we want to do then is know how many times the person wants to sing the song to different people. So we're going to make a variable called times and set it equal to raw in. We're going to do we're going to use input because it's a number, and now we can say or give them a prompt how many times or how many people do you want to sing to? Close the quotes and the parentheses. And then we will pass that into our method. So, our loops. So we'll say for count in range times. And this is a for loop, which means we know how many times we want the loop to execute because the person entered 3 or 6. And then we want to have it sing that song. And also for each time we'll need to actually get the name first. So we're going to put this inside the loop. And then it'll go ahead and go up to our method getName, which means it'll prompt us to enter the name of a person. It will return that name and set it equal to person. Person is then passed into our song method, and then it goes up to our song method here, and we use it in the third line of our message. So this will cause our program to be run as many times as the user wants, and each time it will prompt the user to input a new name to be sung. So let's test it. And we'll sing to 4 people. And the first person, I'll go ahead and sing to myself. And then I want to enter Kate for the second time, person to sing to. And then let me adjust the window here so we can see the rest of what's going on. And the third time we'll sing to Jack. And the last time we'll sing to Tim. And that's how to use a loop in order to sing to more than one people. So now I want to actually get into lists. And lists are data structures that allow us to actually input the names into the list and then retrieve them. So they're like a shopping list. You write down the things that you need to buy at the store, and then when you get to the store, you look at your list and you purchase each of the items on your list. What you're doing is the writing down is the storing part, and the checking your list is the retrieval part that we're going to do with birthday names. So the first thing that we need to do is we need an empty list in order to put our names in. So we're going to go up to our getName method, and since we're dealing with more than one name, I'm going to make it plural this time, getNames. The first thing I need to do is to create an empty list. So I'm going to go names is equal to open and close bracket. These are the brackets next to the P key on your keyboard. Now that I have an empty bracket, I'm going to get a particular name, and then I need to add it to the list. So I'm going to do names.append and pass in my name. A-P-P-E-N-D, and of course watch your spelling. So that will append that name to the list. And now I need to use a loop so that we can continually add names to the list until a certain sentinel value is reached, such as hitting the enter key or one other key on the keyboard. And since I don't know how many names someone wants to enter into the list, I'm going to use a while loop. While loops are best used for events where you don't know how many times you want the loop to execute. You just know you have a sentinel value, like hitting the enter key, and then it will quit. So we're going to say here, while name is not equal to a blank. In other words, they hit the enter key, and then we've got a colon. Then we're going to go ahead and add the name is equal to raw input. Enter the name of the person you want me to sing to. And I noticed I missed a spelling up here, so I'll go ahead and fix that. Now the reason I have to do this twice is I want it to happen once for sure, and then I want it can happen continually again as long as someone doesn't hit the enter key, or which is blank. They don't enter a name. And then each time I need to also append it to the list, so I'll say name.append and pass in name. Now notice here that my name of my list is plural. And this is a common mistake made by everybody, is that I'm appending it to a single name. So I need to make sure that those names match. So names and names. Okay, because my list is actually named names, plural. And then when I'm done, I'm going to return the list, not an individual name, so I need to make this word also plural. Okay, so now we go down to our main method, and we need to make some changes here. We no longer need to say how many times you want to sing to, because the person is actually going to continue entering names until they hit enter. So we'll go ahead and just comment that line out because we don't need it anymore. However, we will need to call our list. So I'm going to tab in and say people instead of person, because it's plural, and I'm going to call our method getNames. Okay? And then I want to use a for each loop this time instead of a for loop. A for each loop is a lot like a for loop, except it's used along with the data structure. And we have a data structure, our list of names. So for every person in our people, because we returned the list, up here we returned our list of names. So our getNames is saying people is equal to getNames. So for every person in people, which is our variable that's holding our data structure, or a reference to our data structure, we want to go ahead and sing the song to that particular person. So we don't need this line either, so I'm going to comment it out. So it's going to go ahead and take a person that's in our list, and our first person is at reference 0, and it's going to sing to that person. And then it's going to go back through the loop and take the second person, which is now at reference point 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, etc., because computers start counting at 0, and it's going to sing to that person. And when it's done, it'll go through that list. So let's test our code and see if it works. So we will sing to the first person. I'm going to go ahead and enter myself, Tim, and it looks like I misspelled append somewhere, so I will minimize it. And let's take a look. It usually tells us what line we did something on. So it says line 14 up here. So I'm going to go ahead and check that line first and go to Edit and then go to Line and type in 14 and click OK. And then we will run it again. And enter a name. So I'm going to hit Tom, then Tim. And it looks like I still forgot to change. Line 14, append. I forgot to change it. Alright, let's try it one more time. Run. And I'll do Tom, Jake, Kate, and D. And then I'm going to hit enter because that's blank. And then so it should sing to those people. It's saying to Tom, then it's saying to Jake, then it's saying to Kate, and then it's saying to D. And the only thing we need to do is add a print line. So we have two problems here. It would be nice to have a blank line in between each verse. And notice that the last one, there's no name. It did an extra one before we entered the while loop. And the reason it did that is because we used hit enter to return. So there's a couple of things we can fix. So let's go ahead here and add an empty print line to our song. So we have a blank in between each line. And then what we can do is to get rid of that last line, what we can do is remove a blank from our list. So we'll say people, because when we hit enter, it added a blank to the end of our list instead of putting a name in there. So we need to remove that first. So we can do people, which is the name of our list, because we got the names and then we return them and put them into people. So we can say people.remove and put in a blank. Alright, let's run it again. See if we have any other errors. So this time I'm going to do Tom, or Tim, Kate, and Jake. And then I'm going to hit enter. And that blank should be removed. And then we're going to sing to Tim, and then to Kate, and then to Jake, and we're done. Alright everyone, that's the end of this project, and I would challenge you to maybe do a different song that has a number of different verses that you could change, or you might try a rhyme and try to break it down and program it so it will print out. Alright, see you next time.